Welcome to the Coach Bryan Moore Show. I'm Margaret Ann Prater alongside Coach Bryan Moore. And just to let you know, this is going to be brought to you on Facebook, YouTube, and the NFHS Network. And please tune in every Friday night if you can't make it to the game on the NFHS Network. Before we begin, Coach, let's go over our sponsors really quick. Marmac Commercial Real Estate, the agency on Main, Life Church, Quorum's Building and Farm Center, and Peck Funeral Home. Coach, the good news about Friday is you got that divisive win you wanted, and it went how you would hope it would go, right?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it was, I really didn't know how to take them, honestly, because of some scores. You can't help yourself but to look at the sort of matchups, and they had really close games with Coleman and with Decatur, and that was scary. I mean, they actually led in the fourth quarter of the Decatur game. And so I didn't really know how to take them, to be honest with you. But our kids played well. And I was really worried about, after an emotional win with Muscle Shoals that, maybe we wouldn't be ourselves or maybe we would come out flat. And we really didn't do that. From the really first defensive stop to the first possession on offense was really sharp. And really our next 5 possessions on offense were really sharp. We had one kind of issue right there before half. We missed a field goal. But overall, I was really proud of them. And I thought they rose to the occasion and finished the region like they should have.
Well, and if you look at Hazel, they're big. I just didn't realize, but I'm going to skip to the end of the game because that's my favorite part.
Okay.
And this was my moment. You had your young guys in. They scored a touchdown with 12 seconds to go. Now, that was not my favorite part. Wasn't excited about them scoring. What I was excited about is I saw your first string actively engaged in that game, and they were upset that they let those guys score. And how positive is that to see those guys that tuned in?
Yeah, we talk about that kind of thing. My thing with the older kids, especially like at halftime, I said, look, if this game continues the way it's going, we've got to go finish. But if you're out of the game, you need to support those kids. I mean, they did for you all year. And, we hadn't been able to get them in as much as we wanted to.
Right.
Even though the games have been pretty decisive as far as 20-plus point wins or whatever, it was late when we did it. If you think about Coleman, if you think about some of the Muscle Shoals game, those were fourth quarter wins, And so we hadn't been able to play them in varsity games like the Columbia game. Maybe we had hoped to get them in that game. Or May Jemison we did, but we were running clock in the second half, so we got like one possession apiece. So it hadn't been a lot, so it was cool to see those kids get to come in and play for a long time.
Well, and I wanted to talk to you about quarterback rating. I'm going to research it, so I Googled it. And there's 4 different ways to calculate it.
Okay.
Did not know that. I calculated a JT from Friday night, just the little bit he played. In the NCAA version, his rating is a 386.
Okay.
And in the NFL, it only goes to 158, and his quarterback rating was a 158.
Yeah, I mean, he's like, I was as close to a perfect performance as you could get. Isaiah dropped the ball that was incomplete,
right.
Which he hadn't done all year and won't. But JT's played really well. I thought our balance as far as throwing a touchdown to RJ, to Eli, to Isaiah was really cool to see. And Coach Lang and Perrin and those guys, as far as passing game stuff, have done a really good job of how we balance and move the ball around to different pieces. And that was really fun. I think we had like 3 straight plays we scored touchdowns on, and we knew that we had to shoot early first because it may rain. We kind of were looking at the weather and saying, well, after half, we may run the ball more because of the rain, which it did. And secondly, if we have a lead, we're not going to throw the ball on people late in games. It's not okay. We've got to kind of settle in on that and run the ball. So I thought they did a great job with that and his balance. And, of course, JT has had several games where he's finished at halftime throwing the ball.
Right.
And it's been fun to watch.
Well, and, that's one thing you were talking about, these things happening, and I live tweet and put the updates on Facebook, and your guys were scoring so much. I didn't get to see a lot of the game because I was typing the whole time. But your go-to guys so far this season were the go-to guys in the first half or so. So tell me how important it is to your team to get those reps and to let them have a half off.
Yeah, I thought that was big. I mean, it's been a grind, especially since Russellville. If you think about it, those 3 weeks have been physical weeks with good opponents. And so we've kind of had to, kind of lick our wounds a little bit, to be honest. And so it was nice in the second half to pull those guys. And we did as quickly as we can. Like Rye had 4 carries. We just really didn't, want to push. Anybody's been injured, we kind of limited some playing time. But again, that was after the game was in hand because obviously it was a region championship. So we were going to go out to win and play our best. But after we settled in and started playing really well, we pulled them pretty quick. Like JT went 5 straight possessions and then he was out. He didn't play the last drive before the half and then any in the second half. We let Jack play behind with our starters. And that's good experience for Jack in a varsity game. And he really did a good job. So, again, that was fun. It was good to see those guys get out at half.
Okay, thanks. We'll be right back. You're watching the Coach Bryan Moore Show.
At Marmac Commercial Real Estate, our focus is providing service second to none. If you're looking to buy commercial property, development land, income-producing properties, or a farm, call the Marmac Commercial team. We provide service second to none. You can reach us at 256-214-2196 or 214-2227, or you can find us on our website at www.marmaccommercial.com.
All right, we're back with the Coach Bryan Moore Show. Coach, let's continue talking about offensive production. We had 3 penalties. You usually don't see those because you had 2 illegal procedures and 1 illegal motion penalty. What was there a reason for that, or was it new personnel in, or were these guys kind of penalty happy? They threw a lot of flags.
They did. We had a couple of those where we were didn't hear the snap. I think Ryan Emmett went in. It was good to see Ryan play center. I think Q had one where Quattlebaum was the center. Basically the way we did it and transitioned is, we left our ones in for the most part, but we started to change where they played. So like Quattlebaum would be the next center to go in if something happened with Tide. So we've done it twice. We did it in the Mae Jemison game. We did it last night or Friday night where I told Coach Prater, I said, if we could get him, let's get him. If something happened, we wouldn't want it to be in a tight ball game where it's his first time snapping like that. That can't happen. So, and then Ryan went in too, and we had just a snap deal. And it was raining when Ryan was in, so it was a little bit loud and that sort of thing, and he couldn't hear it good. But yeah, we don't normally have that, but we did have a few.
Well, and got to see a lot of this one guy towards the end of the game, and that was Sage Smothers.
Yep.
He got a lot of carries. Tell me a little bit about his journey and his performance Friday.
Yeah, Sage, had been a fullback and kind of, moved around, and then there was a time where he wasn't with us, and he came back to us, and Sage is one of our best athletes on our team. I mean, matter of fact, he's definitely in our top 22 as far as an athlete, and we're just trying to find a home for Sage. At the time he was away from us, Armadio kind of stepped up and became the second back, and then, of course, had to be the first back, for the first part of the year without Rye. But it was good to see Sage. I think he carried it 9 straight times. He was gassed by that 4th down, but we wanted him to get in the end zone. He's been through some things, and it was good for him, for his confidence to get that touchdown. So that was big for him.
He's a sports marketing student, so I had to ask about him. This one's my curiosity, and you kind of answered it a little bit, but I want to go a little bit more into detail with this. Jack Smith came in behind JT, and first string line was still in. Was this to get him reps with the ones in case something happened to JT?
Yeah.
Is that why you did that rather than, or was the line mixed up and I just didn't see it?
The first possession he had before half was with our ones. Regular, everybody, Tide was still the center and Q was still playing tackle. I think it's good for him. I did that a lot. I've done it a lot over the years, especially when we're really good and we've been able to pull people at halftime to leave the offensive line in there a little bit longer, because there's something about being behind that one offensive line. You saw it with Sage. Sage had a mixture. I mean, there were some twos in there, but Sage was his best Friday. I think it's a confidence thing with knowing that Q's in there and Stinson's in there and those guys, our best are in there and Floyd's still in there, that he can run behind them. I think that's important. And then same with Jack, to know that, hey, I'm going to drop back and I'm going to have time, and I've got these 300-pounders in front of me. And I just think it's good for their experience. And then, like I said, we started to mix and match as we went through, and we probably would have played Landon had he not been a little banged up. He'll be back this week, but, behind some starters too. Just to see them on a Friday night, in that environment with starters in the game, I think kind of see the real version of themselves, even more than even a JV game.
That's good to hear. I'm going to start asking this question every week, just like I ask my players. But once again, who's the guy that did the dirty work that you want to highlight? Somebody that just didn't get all the stats.
I think obviously, Sage got some of the stats, but again, I thought he was really good, even besides the touchdown. I thought Sage hit things hard. I thought he played really, really physical when he went in. And then Stennett Hageman came in and played for Zeke. Zeke played most of the game. And then Stennett, who was a defensive end, linebacker. And then I saw him a couple of times hit people, use his face mask, be really physical. And then I thought he could end up playing fullback for us. And so we've started to train Stennett. And Stennett went in and I thought was really good Friday. And he doesn't get a lot of the credit. He's still learning. But I think he's going to be a quality player for us even next year.
That'd be great. All right, we're going to take a quick break. You're watching the Coach Bryan Moore Show. And we're here with Trace Oden, our Eddie Pruitt Ford Player of the Week. And Trace, you led the team with 14 tackles against Hazel Green. And I'm going to start off by telling you, you're my favorite kind of player. You go out there every week, you do your job. Maybe we're not talking about you every week on this show, but look, here you are. I looked at the statistics. You're a close third. You're almost second on the team with total tackles for the season. So what have you done to maintain this level of consistency?
Every week we watch film, and then when we go to practice, we go out and we do fundamentals and make sure that everybody on the team's doing their job. And the defensive line's doing an amazing job opening it up and letting linebackers come through.
That's awesome. Yay, defensive line. Because I know they've had a lot to learn this year. I learned who you were more last year from watching you on the basketball court, because I do color commentary for basketball. But which do you like better, football or basketball? I'm
leaning more towards football, but they're both two completely different styles of play. But I like football a little bit better because of how physical I can be.
Awesome. Looking at you play on the defensive side of the ball. So who do you think is the best offense you've faced so far this season?
Probably Coleman. Not really just because they were really big, but because of how fast and well coached they were. And it was just really fast. Didn't really have a time to breathe.
So you think they were the toughest team, better than Muscle Shoals? Okay.
Up front, yes.
Oh, okay. I mean,
by far.
You're not the only person that said that. So that's why I'm, just kind of reiterating the point. That's awesome. I know Oscar would be glad to hear that. How would you like to see your game grow? So what do you want to improve on? I mean, we're not, hopefully you've got several more weeks of the season to go. So
hopefully.
What do you want to improve on?
A lot more aggressive. I want to be more like Mookie style, just fast, and because I kind of hesitate. I want to be able to be faster and more physical up front.
Awesome. Your favorite part of practice? I ask this every week.
Inside, definitely.
What does that mean?
Either inside or like blitz pickup. We'll line up, and it'll be the offensive line versus D-line and linebackers. And sometimes he just calls a blitz and has everybody go, or sometimes it'll be individual, like, hey, you go, and just see who's the best.
Awesome. What do you plan on doing after high school?
Working on the Arsenal. I actually had an internship up there with the head guy that's over the Arsenal program here and in California. They fly back and forth, and I talked to him. He's really nice, and he helped me kind of determine what I'm going to do and all the routes I'm going to take, and that's what I'm going to do.
Is this engineering or computer science?
Yes, ma'am. Mechanical engineering.
Oh, that's incredible. Oh, you'll make a whole lot more money than I do. That's great. All right, this has been Trace Oden, and you did a great job.
Thank you.
We'll be back next week with the Coach Bryan Moore Show.
Hi, I'm Jenny Tankersley.
I'm Dwight Tankersley.
And I'm Jane Hampton, and we're your agency on Main. Local realtors here to serve you. One of our team members will be more than happy to find you that perfect home. Go Tigers!
All right, we're back with the Coach Bryan Moore Show. Coach, let's talk about injuries. You talked about Landon Blackwood being banged up a little bit. I saw Dom with some ice on his shoulder. It was only on there for a little while, though, so it wasn't hurting too bad. He took it off. Is everybody else okay? I usually tell them good luck every Friday, my players in my class, but last Friday was don't get hurt. I thought they were supposed to win, but I was more worried about injuries at that point.
Well, we feel the same way. I mean, we have just been, it's been brutal. I mean, it has, from Rye early in the season to really all the way through trying to get guys healthy from Crawford all year long. I mean, golly, just having to nurse those injuries and get those guys back. And Dom was just a shoulder deal, and he was fine. So that was nice, but we've got to stay healthy. I mean, especially as we get ready for the playoffs. 6A playoffs are, that's a whole different animal.
Oh, yeah.
And so we've got to have all hands on deck to have a chance in those games. But hopefully we'll stay healthy through Buckhorn this week. But we're going to play our best. This is not a game off just because the region's locked up and everything. Our goals are still, undefeated season and all these things. And so, a lot of people ask me, kind of, how do you see this game? Every game, I just never have gotten into not playing to win or not playing your best. If a kid's ready to play, let's play them, And so anyway, so we'll play those guys, but we did stay very healthy, and that was good because really after Athens, we were really beat up. It's good to have Peyton back last week. We didn't have him in the Muscle Shoals game, but it was good to have him, and we're pretty much fully healthy.
That's awesome. Let's go to defense. The havoc rate goal was met.
Finally.
35%. So 17 of 48 plays were some sort of interruption or negative or what do you want to say about?
I mean, we created some negative plays. I mean, so as we look back, I've looked back over the whole year and kind of had time to step back now that the region's won and to look at us and self-scout. And Coach Pell and Coach Cole and everybody sent me stats and everything. We've had a game this year where we've given up 400 yards of offense. And on the flip side, we've not had a game under 400 yards for our offense. It's situational football. It's negative plays. It's third down conversions for us defensively. It's red zone stops. We've done a poor job with that. So if you look at it, we're not giving up a ton of yards. Like the Russellville game, they didn't have 300 yards of offense, but it felt really bad. The Athens game, they didn't have a ton of offense. They had like 140 yards rushing. It felt like 340 yards rushing. And I think it's because we're not getting stops where we need them. And I think finally Friday night, we created those negative plays, Trace specifically, to create those, take those 3rd and 2s into 4th and 6s,
Right.
Finally, to force punts and stuff like that. I thought that was huge. We've got to continue to focus on that. So we've not been bad defensively. It's just when we need those stops, we haven't rose to the occasion. And finally Friday we did that, and that havoc rate shows it.
Oh, exactly. You didn't face the stiffest of competition in Hazel Green, but I don't care who you're playing. You held them to under 100 yards of offense and only 76 yards rushing.
Yeah.
I was so proud of that 76 yards rushing.
Big. Right now, it's a confidence thing. Like our kids know that Muscle Shoals had like 300 yards rushing.
Oh, yeah.
They know that. And it's not that they're not playing hard, man, or they're not trying, to get stops, and they're not trying to be physical. It's just, we're continuing to try and work through some of those things. And finally, with Hazel Green, we won the battle up front. And, our linebackers ran through untouched sometimes. And the calls were really good. Even though I don't know if you knew the stat that Russell Fry gave me, but I think they had the ball 17 minutes in the first half to our 6.
Ridiculous.
And we were up 35-0. I've never seen a stat like that. They were trying to hold the ball and keep away from us. And I don't blame him for doing that. But it was really good to see our guys rise up and then have a big night, again, from a confidence standpoint.
That's what teams are going to do
No
because
doubt.
your offense is kind of on all cylinders, going on all cylinders right now. Which part of the defense, your line, your linebacker secondary, showed the greatest improvement over the last week?
I think it had to be our D-line. I mean, obviously. And then our linebackers, too. All that fits together. Everybody wants to blame, D-linemen when it comes to run stops, but it's linebacker fits, too. It's because the way we play it, we play 3 D-linemen, but most of the time there's a 4th or 5th guy down at the line of scrimmage from a blitz standpoint or a walk-down standpoint, even an edge guy like Bull coming off there, Jake England, who played really well Friday. So we're going to bring pressures and get those gaps filled up. It's just about fitting those gaps right now. And so I think from our box play in general, I thought it was a lot better.
Well, and also let's talk about, you were talking about the linebackers. Let's talk about the performance of our Eddie Pruitt Ford Player of the Week. That's Trace Oden. He's always in there putting the effort in. And I told him in his interview, I looked at the stats. He's second by 3 tackles on our team. I mean, he's right there in the mix. And he led the team this week in tackles.
Yeah, Trace, midway through the season, we had kind of some tough love going on with Trace. And Trace is really long and rangy and athletic. Legit 6'5" kid, but it's his strength deal, right? I mean, because he is so tall, he's always working on his weight and his strength, and that's taken some time to get there. But he's got to continue to be physical, and he had the best week of practice this past week, and then played extremely. Had 14 tackles, huge, several tackles for loss. A ball hit him in the stomach that I thought he was going to pick off, so he had a pass breakup. So I was really glad to see for Trace that he, played the way that he practiced, and that carried over. And I, again, proud of him, proud of his toughness.
Well, and these last 2 games aren't automatic wins, but you're nowhere near the level of team like you're going to face in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
They're not going to be. How are you keeping the guys ready for that? What are you doing to prepare? I mean, because I know you're a planner. What are you guys? You don't have to give away all your secrets, but
well, there'll be some more live stuff going on in practice this week. We've not worn pants. We've been in shells, so that will be with shorts and girdles on for the past over a month, just to stay healthy. But today we're putting on pants and going out and being really physical and tackling to the ground because we need to. We got to tackle better. Even Friday night, we just don't tackle back as well as we want to. We don't. It's a lot of arm tackle. We got to use our face, you know, and we got to use our bodies still. I mean, I hate to say it, but we have to get people on the ground and be violent with our arms, and we need to do that at practice. And so we'll do that, and then in the bye week, you know, we'll have 2 really hard days where we'll be 2-hour plus practices, and we'll get after it. We'll pull back late in the week, you know, to get ready for the playoffs, but we've got to continue to stay sharp. The good news is that we're pretty good on both sides of the ball, so we can continue to push each other as well. I mean, for our defense, the best offense that they've seen this year is ours.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the truth. And so every day they get to practice against the best they see, and so they're continuing to raise their level because of that too.
Okay, thanks. That was good. All right, we'll be right back. You're watching the Coach Bryan Moore Show.
I'm Ray Lampe, Dr. Barbecue, and I'm here to tell you about the Big Green Egg, the ultimate cooking experience. The versatility of the Big Green Egg is unmatched. It delivers big results as a grill, a smoker, and even an outdoor oven. Grill burgers, kebabs, steaks at 800 degrees, slow smoke a perfect slab of ribs, and even bake a crispy pizza. When the doctor cooks, I demand the best, and that's why I cook on the Big Green Egg, the ultimate cooking experience.
All right, we're back with Coach Bryan Moore. Coach, looking at next Friday, it's senior night. We face Buckhorn. They're 5-4 in the season, but only 2-4 in region wins. They have Columbia and Hazel Green, which we know the type of competition that was. But they did play Athens really close. You know, we talked about them beating Bob Jones. So what's the scouting report on Buckhorn?
Yeah, they are. They're kind of a unique team. I think they're extremely well coached. Coach Patterson is a friend of mine, and you know, coming from Bob Jones, he brings a 7A scheme to them, and totally different than they were a year ago. I really thought a lot of Coach Henderson and the job he did there, but the scheme was different, and you know, Matt's doing a good job with that, and so they're better than 2-4 in the region. They had close games with Decatur and with Athens, and really could be the playoff 4 seed or even better, you know. And so that's what Coach Patterson feels about it. I talked with him Saturday, and you know, he's close, and I know how year 1 is, you know, and what that's like, man. It's a grind, and but they've got some talented kids. And they'll be an upgrade from Hazel Green. They're better than Hazel Green, and I think they're on the level with Athens and those guys. And so we'll have to play really well. Again, we didn't exactly blow the doors off Athens or Decatur, and so they'll be the same way. And but again, I think towards the end of the year we're getting better, right. And that's exciting. And you know, hopefully we'll play well. But we need to finish. You know, I don't care what it means, you know, or as far as region implications, all that stuff. We have to play well to propel us into the playoffs.
Exactly. Coach, I'm going to ask this question every week because I know I get asked a lot, and I'm sure every time somebody sees you, they're going to ask, if the first round were next week, who are we going to play? Because there's a 3-way tie in that region right now.
That's tough. It takes a mathematician to get that one done. It goes all the way down to letter L in the tie break, and it's non-region wins. So you get the wins of the teams you beat out of region. So for example, if Gardendale in 2 weeks beats Florence I think has 5 or 6 wins on the year, they get those wins, okay?
That's crazy.
That's how it works. And I've been part of it at Opelika. Years 2009 we did it and got knocked out of the playoffs because of non-region wins. Anyway, so it's tough. And you know, right now, you know, I guess Jackson Olin maybe has the fewest non-region. The opponent has the fewest wins anyway, collectively, but that's going to change. I mean, Gardendale and Florence play. Pinson goes to Lee Montgomery and plays in 2 weeks. That's a tough game. That Lee and Opelika went to overtime, so I don't know what kind of matchup that's going to be for Pinson. Exactly. I have no idea. It'll be all the way till Friday night before the playoff meeting on Saturday morning before we know who we play. Because we'll go and scout, you know, everybody that we can during our bye week, but it's going to be quite a mathematical deal to tell.
Exactly. Well, if you look at their matchups this week, because I know you're going on further, because they all should win.
Yeah.
I mean, they're playing the bottom of the region, so
right.
they all should win.
Right.
So, boy, that's going to be interesting. All right, we'll be right back with our Eddie Pruitt Ford fan question of the week. You're watching the Coach Bryan Moore Show.
Hey folks, my staff and I here at Eddie Pruitt Ford would like to thank you guys. We're in our 37th year in business, and we'd also like to thank the Hartselle Tiger football team that the preparation they put in for Coach Moore and his great staff, and especially our kids has worked so hard in the off season to get ready for another great season. Go Tigers!
All right, Coach, this is the moment of truth. We've got your Eddie Pruitt Ford Fan Question of the Week. And I usually don't tell who the fan is. I'm going to go ahead and just say her name. That would be Dana McCutcheon. And she got me at the ball game and said, you better ask this. So this is what he wants to know. What she wants to know, what is the most number of touchdowns JT has thrown in one half of football?
Well, obviously it'll have to be the first half because we run the ball so much in the second. But he threw 3 at Mae Jemison, and then he threw 3 at Muscle Shoals, and then he threw 3 Friday. So I think 3. Hazel Green was 3. You know, what's crazy, the stats change so much after halftime. It's unbelievable. I've never been a part of a team like this where JT just lights it up. He'll go, 14 of 18 in the first half for 210 yards, and then it'll be like Ryan Armadio all the second half of running. But
isn't that a nice luxury to have?
It is, and from a game plan standpoint, that's what we want to be. We want to use our stuff, make our calls early, and then finish on the ground. And that's how you finish football games, plain and simple. So, yeah, he's been, oh, my goodness, what's he, like 16 touchdowns or so? 3 interceptions. His quarterback rating's off the roof. He's thrown for 1,700 yards already. Hopefully can hit that 2,000 milestone by Friday. How cool would that be? In 9 games, too. Yeah.
Wow.
What a milestone in a regular season. But just proud of all of them, man. It's so much, for his success. He's really good, but the guys he's throwing to is good.
The protection around him to work.
Man, the protection's been good. The scheme's been good. I mean, Jesse and Will and Zach, they have done a great job as far as the passing game. And then Coach Prater and Coach Swear, the protection piece, and then Coach Foreman with that fullback. Zeke's in there blocking, and 7-man protection stuff. So it's just been a lot of fun. It's been really balanced, and JT's having a special year.
That's great. All right, we'll be back next week. Thanks for watching the Coach Bryan Moore Show. And this week in Hartselle High Athletics, let's start with Thursday, October 21st. Volleyball is going to be competing at the North Regional at the Von Braun Center. Swimming is going to Dublin Park at Madison. Cross country has the Northwest Championships in Oakville. And junior high boys, we're starting basketball, people. They host Williamson at the junior high. Let's go to Friday, October 22nd. Football is going to host Buckhorn at J.P. Kane, and it's also senior night. On Saturday, October 23rd, the junior high cross country has championships at Scottsboro. Now here's a rare moment. Monday and Tuesday, October 25th and 26th, there's no action, and we're just going to call that the quiet before the storm because we're about to kick up with basketball and football. This is this week in Hartselle High Athletics.
Peck Funeral Home is owned and operated by folks who live in the same communities they serve. Our employees are the heart of our business. The funeral home proudly employs over 30 local individuals. Currently, the funeral home is managed by Jeff Halbrooks, who has held that position for over 20 years. Our goal is simple and has remained the same now since 1929. Peck Funeral Home strives to provide genuine service from the heart.